What's the worst dietary advice you've ever heard? In this video, what I'm going to do is take a look at the worst dietary advice that I've heard when it comes to improving human health. So for those of you who are brand new to my channel, my name is Lucas, the founder of Ergogenic Health, and my mission is to bring you the most cutting edge health information that you'll struggle to find on Google. So what is the worst bit of dietary advice you've ever heard? I'd love to get your experience or your comments down below. What is the worst thing you've ever heard when it comes to nutrition? For me, it is that all calories are created equal. Please don't listen to this advice when it comes to a calorie is a calorie. First of all, we need to define a calorie. Calories are a measure of energy. Simply being, small calories estimate the amount of energy required to raise the temperature of exactly 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius at 1 atmospheric pressure. And big calories, also known as kilogram calories, are more commonly known and refer to the calories in food. The big calorie is named because it is equivalent to 1,000 of the small calories, or 1 kilocalorie. So here's why this particular dietary advice is completely flawed and why different calories matter. Now we can see in this diagram here, plate A, which is 660 calories, consisting of a donut and a Snickers bar, versus plate B, which is also 660 calories, which contains broccoli, chicken, some Brussels sprouts, asparagus, and also some sweet potato. Now, if you were to look at these two different food options, and let's say you chose to eat plate A as your main meal every day for lunch versus plate B every day as your main lunch meal, which meal do you think is going to have a beneficial or deleterious effect on your health? It's quite obvious that plate B, full of nutrients, full of vitamins, full of healthy essential amino acids, is going to yield better effects on our health when compared to, say, just eating a donut and a Snickers bar, despite the fact that it's simply the same number of calories. So this is immediately how this basic logic is completely flawed, and essentially why you should completely ignore how all calories are created equal. So the critical problem here is that food is made up of nutrients, peptides, and other molecules that can influence our basal metabolic rate, hormones, enzymes, and even our microbiome. So a good example of this would be high calorie, metabolically stimulating foods. So a good example of this would be high fat grass-fed steak, chicken liver, and or chicken hearts. These foods are quite rich in calories due to their saturated fat content. But what's critical to note is that even though they're rich in calories to a degree, they contain metabolically stimulating nutrients. So for example, looking at grass-fed steak contains amino acids, peptides, and compounds that can actually stimulate the body's metabolism. And due to it being rich in protein, it's going to have a thermogenic effect. So it's going to actually expend a lot of calories just to digest the food itself. Similar with chicken liver. Chicken liver is rich in thyroid stimulating or supporting nutrients such as vitamin A. And so we've seen studies that demonstrate, vitamin A helping with thyroid output, and also chicken hearts being rich in zinc can also stimulate the metabolism via increasing T4 to T3. Really, the whole point of this video is to re-evaluate your goals. Ask yourself this question: what kind of relationship do you have with food? What are your main goals? Are you eating for fat loss? Are you trying to consume a diet that is going to support muscle growth, or are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to reduce disease risk? Are you eating purely for pleasure? Do you eat just a very balanced approach and you're not too extreme one end or the other? That's personally my approach. Are you eating purely for athletic performance? Are you trying to combat, specific disease states such as autoimmune diseases? Or do you have some other reason for the particular diet that you're eating? This is when it comes back to understanding the individual's goals and understanding what their rationale is for their food intake. So the key point here is that there is no one size fits all when it comes to dieting, and that simply saying that all calories are created equal is fundamentally flawed. There's no one size fits all, even for some of those extreme diets out there, such as, let's say, the carnivore diet, which does have its flaws. Looking at the vegan diet, which also has flaws. Really, what we need to ask ourselves is what alters your daily needs. The things that can influence what you eat and the nutrition that is required from your diet is things like how well you slept the night before. For example, if you didn't sleep that well the night before, then you know that your body's going to be less tolerant to carbohydrates and your body is more insulin resistant. Maybe you manipulate your carbohydrate intake on that day. Are you training on that day? So exercise obviously is going to require various macronutrient profiles and macronutrient compositions. So I guess if you're training, maybe you want to up your carbohydrates on that day. How stressed are you? Being highly stressed can influence your macronutrient requirements. How much sunlight exposure do you get? Being out in the sun and being out in nature can actually, suppress appetite. And then also, how much non-exercise activity thermogenesis activities are you doing? How much NEAT are you engaging in on a daily basis? All of these things influence your daily needs. So I guess the bottom line and the biggest takeaway from this video is to have a good understanding of your macronutrient and micronutrient intake, not only your caloric intake. And I was just researching the other day that there are less and less individuals that are relying on calorie counting, and it's good to see that more people are shifting their thinking more towards understanding their macronutrient and micronutrient intake. And it's an immediate red flag if someone purely fixates on the calorie in, calorie out model. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Love to hear your comments down below. I'll see you guys in the next video.